Hello, my name is Thomas, and in this video I'm going to show you how to get up and running with a new theme called Podium. So Podium has been specifically designed for speakers, and it features a lot of the things that are prominent and important for speakers to showcase for people who would be interested in their speaking or just want to find out a little bit more information about them. So this is a one-page scroller theme, which means that it's all one page, and the navigation actually leads you to different specific places on the page. Now, a lot of times what you'll see out there with a number of themes is that they are created in such a way as to give you a demo site very similar to what we have here. So you're able to see it kind of in context and in practice. But what usually is left out is how to actually get it set up like this. So that's one of the things that's very different about Notable Themes is not only do we create you an effective and targeted site that fits the specific needs that you're after, we don't leave you in the dark. We show you how to go through step by step, set up that site, and make it really easy for you to do so. So we'll go ahead and dive right into that. Once you've installed the Podium theme and you've gotten it activated through the specific license key that you received, you'll see here that you have a number of different options. You got shortcodes that you're able to customize. Shortcodes are a little bit more advanced. If you want to be able to go even beyond what we're going to explore in this particular video, you can use shortcodes. And if you even want to go further, we even have a CSS/Sass editor in here, so you can even add your own styles and do some pretty advanced customizations from a developer standpoint. But again, in this video, we're going to stick to the basics and show you how easy it is to actually get set up and running with this particular theme. So one of the things that's unique about Podium is that it's all customized directly within your native widgets section of your website. So if you've already worked with WordPress and you've set up a sidebar, you're pretty familiar already with how to set up Podium. So what you'll see over here is that we have a number of these different custom widgets, and then an area over here that says front page. That front page is going to be this whole page. So we're going to be customizing this just as we would any other widgets panel throughout any WordPress theme. So let's go ahead and get started. To start with, we're going to go ahead and add a hero area. The hero area is what we're going to see here. We've got ourselves a headline, a subheading, a video, and a call to action. So we'll go ahead and start that process here. And we'll just kind of replicate this just for the sake of this example. Okay, and the next section that we're going to be able to see here is, that's actually going to be the navigation title, which we're going to leave blank. The navigation title is how we want this to show up in the navigation. Since I don't really want the hero area to actually have a title at the top, I'm just going to leave that blank right here for navigation title. Now then, for the section style, we have three different colors to choose from, or three different styles, I should say. Default, which is going to be our canvas color, which in this case is going to be white. So if I just want it to have a white background with darker text, I'm going to leave it as default. If I want the primary color scheme, that's when our primary background color is going to show through with white text on top or light text on top. That's going to be primary. And the secondary is going to be our tertiary color, which is going to be this light gray. And again, all of this is going to be customizable, and we'll be able to see that after I start to go into how to customize the color scheme. So for this one, we want it to be the primary color scheme. The subheading goes here. And then to add a video, we can embed one from just about anywhere that will provide you with an embed code. So in this case, we're just going to be using a YouTube video. And so to do that, we can just click on Share and Embed. And we can just copy that embed code, paste that in there. CTA navigation, for now, we're just going to go ahead and leave that at NA. You can also add in your own custom URL if you want to, and we'll get into that here shortly. CTA label, we'll just go ahead and add that real quick. We'll just go ahead and copy this. So we'll say start the conversation. Oops. CTA icon. So if you want to add an icon, you'll notice that there's a little icon next to this. You can actually pick any icon from the Font Awesome icon set. So you can pick anything out of here. Let's say, for example, we just wanted a little user circle. All we need to do is actually just copy this. Oh, sorry. Actually, what we need to do is just copy this. You can ignore the FA. paste that in there, and we'll click save. And we'll see that we're already starting to see this take shape. We've already got our video, our headline, our subheading. We don't have a CTA yet because we haven't selected a destination for that CTA to go. So for now, we're going to leave that off. We can go back to our widgets. And the next one we want to work on is about. So let's go ahead and find About You, add that widget, and we're going to follow that same process. For now, I'm going to say, let's go ahead and just do the same thing. Brian Andrews is our fictional character. We'll go ahead and add this to the navigation menu by adding About. And this is going to be our secondary color scheme, which is going to have the gray. Speaker photos, so we can add an image. In fact, we'll just go ahead and add this one right in there since it's already available to us. Select an image, insert that into the post, and we've just got some placeholder text here. There we go. We'll just do facebook.com. Okay, so now that we've set up that second widget, we'll be able to see it here in action with our heading, our image, our bio, and our Facebook link as well, just like we do on our demo site. So we'll just jump back over here and we'll go ahead and jump right on over to the next widget. So the next widget we're going to create is the requested topics section, which is just 3 columns with some text, headlines, and an icon to go with it, as well as a CTA if we would like. So let's jump over to topics, add widget, and again we'll just go ahead and copy our demo site. From the navigation, we'll just do topics. This one is going to be default for the style. So we'll just do listen, learn, create. So what I'm doing right now is just adding the headings for each column. And we'll go ahead and jump in here and grab some placeholder text, again, just for the sake of this example. So this is column 1 content, column 2 content, column 3 content. And then for the CTA, we're going to leave that blank for now. We're going to go ahead and do that last. And the reason I'm going to do it last is, as you can see here, it's giving me a list of the widgets that we've already configured. So if I want, I can just make this CTA, which a CTA, if you're not already familiar with the terms, a call to action, and it's just a button that this theme is going to add in there for you. And so what it's going to enable you to do is pick one of the widgets you've already created so you can make that CTA scroll directly to that area in the page. What we're going to do, and what most are probably going to do, is have this scroll directly to the contact form. And the contact form I'm going to be creating last, so that's why I'm going to be saving this for the very end. So we'll leave that blank for now. Or we'll just do this, contact me. We're just going to go ahead and add an icon for the column itself. And again, the icons can always be sourced over from Font Awesome. So we'll just go ahead and do some sort of nice arrow. Or actually, no, let's do something a little different. Why don't we do like a book? There we go. So again, for this one, it's just book. So we're just going to type that in, book. Okay, so we'll click save. Jump back to the front end, and we'll see we've got this looking just like we do on our demo site. Again, we can select the different icons that we want. We've got our text with our headings. The only thing that's missing from the demo is, again, that CTA, but we will, again, as I mentioned, be going through and adding that here shortly. Okay, so now that we have that, we're ready to jump on to our next widget, which is going to be the What People Are Saying, or the Testimonials widget. So there's a little bit more to creating a testimonials widget. First, we'll go ahead and add the widget in there, which actually it's called endorsements, not testimonials, but we'll go ahead and say what people are saying, endorse. Okay, section style, we're going to do primary, and we're going to click save. Now, If I jump back to the front end, nothing's going to be there. And the reason is because we have not created any endorsements yet. So we need to do that by just clicking endorsements over here in the sidebar. Click that and then add new. So for each endorsement, we just want to go through here and in the title area, add the name. So we can just do endorser's name here. Not exactly creative, but gives you the idea. We'll go ahead and take our placeholder text, paste that in there. And then for the featured image, this is the actual image of the person who's leaving the endorsement. So this is, of course, optional. You don't have to do this. But it always adds a little bit of a more personal touch if you can add an image. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Click Publish. Click Add New so we can add another. Placeholder text, add our image. Click Publish. And now we should be able to see this in action on the front end. And we do. We see here it shows the image that we uploaded, as well as our text and the name that goes right there, just like we see in our demo site. Okay, so the next section, the next widget that we're going to take a look at is a photo gallery. So a photo gallery is going to work really great if you've got a lot of different pictures of you speaking. This is going to be the place to be able to highlight that. So we'll go down over to the widget section, and we'll go ahead and add that in there. So we've got photos, add that in. And you can just leave this blank or add a headline in the demo. I actually did not add a specific headline, but again, just like any of these other widgets, you can add one or leave it out. So I'm going to leave it out for this one, but you can add photos for the navigation. This is secondary color scheme. We're going to click Save. Now, similar to what we just saw in the endorsements widget, we have to add photos separate of this widget. So we can see those, again, similar to the endorsements. You can see them right over here in the sidebar. So we'll go ahead and click Photos, and we'll start adding some samples. So I'm just going to grab, just for the sake of this example, some landscape pictures from Pexels and just toss those in there. So let's get some that are a little bit more square. So we'll get that one. Get that one, and again, these are just for the sake of testing out the theme or giving you an idea of how the uploading process works. So we'll just grab one more. Nice forest scene. Okay, so that should work. All right, so let's go ahead and say forest. We'll go ahead and upload all these at once so we have them. And I usually just drag this over here just so it's nice and in focus. We'll go ahead and click Publish. Publish, add new. Publish, add new. And publish. And there we go. Okay, so now we should be able to see this in action on the front end. And we do. So you're able to see each of these images and scroll through them really quickly and easily. Okay, so we've got the Photos widget configured. So now if we want to, we can add another widget which will be for social sharing. So if you'd like someone to be able to share your page, that makes it really easy to do so. So we'll just jump over to configure that one, and we can do that here by adding share. It already says spread the word. We can add that to the navigation if we would like to. So just add share. We'll keep that as default. And then you can go through here and you configure which specific networks you want to show up. By default, it's going to show all of them. And then it also has an option for you to select or deselect the share count. This will actually calculate the number of shares across all these different networks. So we'll click Save and go back to the front end. And we'll see, just like it showed up in our demo site, it now shows up on the site that we're working on now. Okay, so the last widget that we're going to configure here is the contact form. So we're going to be able to jump over here and see contact form, add widget. So we'll go ahead and configure that. So contact, this is going to be our primary color scheme. And then if you'd like to give specific instructions, you can add that here. And then we're going to have an area for a custom form code. So if you're using your own plugin, or if you're using Wufoo, or if you're using Typeform, or something else that you want people to be able to use to contact you, you can add that here. However, if you just want to use it natively, you just got to make sure that your email address has been entered into the theme settings. Okay, so now with that contact widget all configured and ready to go, we can scroll back to the front end of our website, see that it's got that heading, it's got the text that we added, and then it's got that built-in native form right there within Podium. Now, if you like to enter in your own form code, you can. If you do, it will show that in place of this one. So it's totally up to you whether you use the Podium one or if you use the one, any other service that you'd like to have people contact you through. So just that easy, we've gone through, and it didn't take very long at all. We actually went through and we've configured our site just like the demo. So it's got the navigation all built in, it's got our contact form, and it didn't take very long at all. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to step through and we're going to start to customize this, because as much as we may like the demo, we don't want it to look just like that. We want it to follow our own brand, our own style, and our own theme. So we're going to click Customize now, and we're going to be able to take a look at our site throughout the customizer and some of the extra added customization abilities that are built into Podium. So what we're going to be able to start with first is the color palette. So as you can see here, this has all been configured. And you know what? I need to take a step back real quick before we jump into customizing the color. I had almost forgotten. We need to make sure that we configure the CTAs throughout here, which is something I mentioned that we're going to do. So CTAs, now that we've got that contact form created, I can go ahead and select that here from the CTA navigation option. We also can do the same thing if we remember that we have some CTA options here in our topics widget. So let's go through and do that. We'll go ahead and just make that contact me, and again, you can have this navigate to anyone that you want, or you can do a custom URL as well, and you can enter that here, but we're just going to do contact me. Click save, back to the front end, and there you go. We've got the CTA configured, which scrolls down to the contact me. Again, we also see that in action here. It looks like, let's double check this. Back to requested topics, contact me. Oh, I see, we didn't add a label, so it's not showing up. So contact me. Contact me. So we'll go ahead and click save. Back to topics. And there we go. We've got the CTAs in action. Okay, so now we're ready to jump in and start customizing the site style now that we've gone through and got all our content squared away. Okay, so the first thing we're going to jump into is the color palette. So the great thing about the Podium theme is that unlike so many others, you don't have to go through and go painstakingly panel by panel and customize each one. Instead, it's set up to be much more dynamic, so that all you have to do is go through and select a color scheme, a color palette, and then the theme will change all on its own. So right now we've got, this is our standard built-in options that, as we can see, reflected in the demo site itself, of course over here on our demo site. But now we're going to go through and start changing that. So let's say instead of the green, we wanted something that was, oh, I don't know, on the blue side. So we'll go through and start changing that. That's a little bit light, so we'll darken that a little bit. Wanted this kind of blue color. Let's do that. And as you can see, the entire site is changing to reflect that blue. All I did was change one color, and already you can see the whole site beginning to change and reflect a new style. So we'll go ahead and keep that. And then let's try for our secondary color. Let's say instead of that red, tends to clash a little bit, we want something that's, a little bit closer to orange. Since that seems to complement blue a little bit better, that's quite yellow, so let's try move this up. There we go. So that seems to work, seems to complement pretty well. And as you can see, again, that's all being reflected instantly throughout the site. You're not having to go through and change each individual button. You just change that specific section and it works from there. Okay, so now what we want to do is go ahead and select our tertiary color. So this is going to be a lot reflected on backgrounds. So we'll just do this, and then so we wanted it to be, rather than that gray, we wanted it to be more of a brownish tan. It's a bit on the dark side. That's quite prominent, so we can put that back a little bit more. So there we go. So instead of that gray, we've got this kind of tan style going, so it's a little bit more subdued. So that's our tertiary color, and then we'll do our base color. Let's just say we want that to be a little lighter. So base color is going to be kind of your main text. So we'll keep that. And then canvas color, canvas is just the white. That's going to be the background. So if for whatever reason you wanted to change that to something else, you could. Typically, you probably just want to keep that white, but the flexibility is there if you ever want to change it to anything else. So let's go ahead and save and publish that. Jump to the front end, and we can see instantly our site already has a much different look, a much different style that reflects us a little bit differently. Okay, now that we have the color scheme all worked out throughout the overall style of our website, next we get to jump over and begin to customize the typography. Okay, so we saw over here that we have the color palette, which is where we were just working, and now we can work over on typography, which is just located right below it. So we click on typography, and we see here that we have two different options. So we've got a primary typeface and a secondary typeface. So I'm just going to scroll on down to our most requested topic section, which gives us a good variety of where we can kind of see this typography in practice. Okay, so what we've got here is, as I mentioned, a primary typeface and a secondary typeface. Now the primary typeface is going to be primarily body copy. It'll also be buttons, but kind of the smaller text would be a way to look at it. So all of this is going to be our primary typeface. These buttons are also going to be our primary typeface. Same thing for again, that's a button, but then our footer text, all of that is going to be, and then, this copy as well. That is all our primary typeface. Headlines and subheadings are going to be our secondary typeface. So now, as you'll be able to see here, we've got tons of different typefaces to choose from. That doesn't really help you very much since, it's just a gigantic drop-down list. Don't necessarily expect you to have those all memorized. I certainly don't. But what you can do is this actually pulls from Google Fonts. So you can just go over to the Google Fonts website and you can see a nice grid format of all the different fonts that you have available to you. So let's say, for example, we wanted to pick a nice serif typeface for our body copy. So I could just say I like, I don't know, let's say we like Merriweather. So we see Merriweather. All we have to do is for our primary typeface, just type in Merry, and we see Merriweather right there. And as we can see, that typeface changes across the entire theme. So there you go, you see that in action. Then let's say for our headline typeface, we want to do something a little bit more outside the box. Let's say we want to do something that looks a little bit more like a permanent marker. So we have a typeface by that exact name, so permanent marker. Hit that. And there we go. And as you can see, it gives a much more creative, stylized look to this overall theme. So let's go ahead and click Save and Publish, jump to the front end. And as you'll see, nothing changed here. One of the things I'll mention is that Podium is a very dynamic theme in the way that it creates its styles. So what it's actually doing, if you're familiar at all with web development or kind of how style sheets work, it's actually generating a dynamic style sheet that displays the overall style of the website. Now sometimes what happens is when you are actually changing a style sheet, changes happen to a style sheet, a browser doesn't necessarily recognize that right away, and that's because a lot of browsers will actually cache a style sheet, save a style sheet, so that the site will load faster for you. So we have to give that sometimes a hard refresh. There we go, and then you see it in action. Okay, so as you can see, we've got those two typefaces, and again, it gives a whole new look and style to this theme, but we've still got more yet that we can configure and customize, so we'll do that next. All right, so we jump on over to Customize again. And again, this was our typography section, is what we just finished with. So next we're going to take a look at imagery. So I've already got here, I've uploaded a new image, but I'm just going to grab a different one to show you how that can work. So let's say we wanted to go over to here and go landscapes. So you wanted something a little bit different. So we could just grab, a nice sunset, download that. change image. Choose image. Let's just save and publish that real quick and jump to the front end. So then you'll be able to see, of course, we need to go through and give that a nice little refresh. Let's go back to customize, try that one more time, make sure that that actually took. Sometimes it takes a second. There we go, that's been saved. There we go. Okay, so now you'll be able to see in the background here, you'll be able to see that image that we just uploaded nice and faded back there. So again, it gives you that flexibility to add that style that really works best for you. So if you've got a picture of you speaking or something else that really helps accent the site or give it a nice personal touch, that is one way that you can do that. All right, so let's jump back over to customize. And the last thing we're going to take a look at is just a minor thing, but again, something that can help change the overall style and the feel of the website itself. So as you'll be able to see, when I hover over buttons right now, and the same thing would apply to links if we had any in here, but if you hover over these different items, what you actually see is a little bit of a transition effect. So what you can actually do is edit that here. So if you wanted that to be really slow, for example, you can actually go in here and see that that slowed down if we had that to change that to a 0.5. If you want to completely remove that, if you don't like the transitions, if you just want it to be pretty stark in its transitions, so, you know, pretty much just instant, you can just add 0 and have it change that way. So we'll click Save and Publish. And one last thing I wanted to mention just before we wrap up here is something that's important. You may be wondering, so how do I add italics or how do I add bolds to this, or, you know, different links, since we were just changing that all within the widget section. One of the nice things that has been worked into Podium, in all of these different text fields, you'll see there's not like an area where you can go through here and you can actually edit, you know, italic and bold. The nice thing is that it accepts Markdown. So if you're familiar with Markdown, you already know how to begin applying formatting to any of the text in here. And it makes that really simple. So for example, if I wanted to go in here and I wanted to make this bold, and then I wanted to make a link or something like that. So, you know, here's how you do a link in Markdown. So let's say we go here, and let's say there's going to be a link right here. Then we click Save. Back to the front end. You'll be able to see our link is right there, and then our bold text is right there. Same thing through italics. So it makes it really simple. You don't have to worry about a big old clunky text editor. It's just right there. You just throw some Markdown in there, and that easy you can add some nice formatting to any of your text. And of course that includes, as I mentioned, links, italics, bolds, anything that you would normally do with a standard WordPress editor you can do right there, just that easy. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of what it's like, some of the features that are built into Podium, as well as how easy it is to get up and running. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to head right on over to notablethemes.com, get in touch with us, and we would be happy to help.